If you're one of those people sunk by phone bills each month, the latest technological advance is going to make your day. It's called the Internet Telephone, and more than 1 million people are already using it. You use your computer and the Internet, and you can make long-distance phone calls without an area code, without dialing, and best of all, for free.
Joining us now with his internet phone by his side is our technology columnist, Tim Doyle. Hi, Tim.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing fine. Now, Tim, most people think of the internet as a way of exchanging files or emails. Now we're hearing about internet telephone. What is it?
Absolutely. Internet phones are essentially applications that mimic telephones. They let you converse with other people over the internet, just as you would having a telephone conversation, but using the internet.
So we're talking about real audio then?
That's right.
What is the technology that's happened to make this breakthrough possible?
Well, essentially what's happened is people have gotten fancier computers with microphones and 16-bit sound cards, and they're starting to use the internet. It's obviously, as everyone's heard, it's been a revolution in the past few years.
So we're talking only about the most recent computers that have the capacity to do this?
Essentially, I mean, people who have bought computers in the past, let's say 5 years ago, wouldn't be able to do it right now. It's the multimedia generation of computers that are using this.
All right, now if I want to do this and I want to buy a computer today, what are the things I need to look for?
Basically what you need is a pretty high-end 486 processor, or Pentium if you're lucky, 8 megabytes of RAM, a connection to the internet using point-to-point or SLIP technology, and a 16-bit sound card. Okay,
now today we were looking at Microsoft NetMeeting. What other forms of software are out there to allow this kind of telephone connection?
Well, the big four are Microsoft NetMeeting, CoolTalk from Netscape, Vocaltek's Internet Phone, and Intel's Internet Phone. The four of them basically rule the place, and there's another one from QuarterDeck, but they all compete amongst each other.
And do you have any preferences?
I think the most interesting ones are NetMeeting and CoolTalk. Certainly NetMeeting's interesting because it's not just phoning. You get to do things like share a whiteboard drawing on the screen. You can chat with each other. There's a possibility of using video to talk amongst each other. And you can basically hold conferences, which you can't really do on the telephone in any kind of satisfactory way.
Okay, you want to give this a try?
Okay, Brent, what I'm first going to do is I put your name into the speed dial. So I'm just going to select it from the top and click on Brent.
Now, Tim, no phone sounds like this anymore, you know.
I know, it's just sort of a quaint afterthought, I guess.
Okay, now I see an icon has come up here, incoming call from Tim Doyle. I guess I'll accept your call, Tim.
That's right. And now we're in conference.
Tim, are you there?
I sure am.
What kind of a delay should you expect when you're talking on this? It's kind of like CB radio, I guess.
Exactly. It's you can hear in advance. There is some limit. It's sort of like calling long distance in the 1950s across the Atlantic.
Is there any way that you can send me right now some kind of a video signal or any other kind of information so that we could share, say, a file or a document while we also have this conversation?
Absolutely. What you do is you click on whiteboard, for example, and you'll find that a little board will come up on which you can scroll any number of etchings or whatever you like. You know, for example, circle, square. You can, doodle all over the place, and that'll come up on your computer.
Now, can I add to this doodle as well if I want to?
Go for it. You absolutely can.
Okay, I'm scribbling in yellow. Are you getting that?
Yes, I am.
This is art.
We'll call it that.
Well, okay, Tim, well, it's pretty impressive. How much does this system cost? What should I expect to pay?
Essentially, the whole fact is that internet phones are lauded as being cheap, and the fact is when you call on a telephone from, let's say, France to Tahiti, it costs something like $270.
Right.
Using the internet, it can be pennies or a few dollars at most. At the same time, you do have to shell out for a pretty fancy multimedia computer, but the attraction is that it's cheap.
But I guess above that, above the initial startup costs and whatever it costs you for internet connection per month, there are no more costs. Like if I call the North Pole and talk for several hours, it doesn't really matter. There's no added cost to that.
Exactly, which is why the telephone companies for a time were running scared, but they've since realized that there are some drawbacks to this technology, or at least limitations. The first thing first is that the quality isn't very good. It's kind of sketchy and unreliable at times. It comes through, in bits and pieces. You can't call other internet programs all the time. You have to arrange for calls in advance. You can't call real telephones. So it's really just right now a really fancy toy that's useful in business applications and fun for home users, but otherwise it's not like a telephone.
Have you been using it to make calls, and if so, why do you favor it over
I'm guilty.
the phone?
I'm guilty, absolutely. My sister Nicola is at McGill in her first year, and she and I, to just talk amongst ourselves and help her out with her essays and stuff, use NetMeeting. So we do find applications for it. It's extremely useful, and it's certainly more interesting than using the phone.
Okay, Tim, now what about when it's time to hang up and leave? What do we do?
All you do is click on the little X's in the corner and get out of it. And then you're finished.
Well, see you later.
Okay.
Beep. When we return, we will visit a Mandarin immersion class.